My name's Larissa and I'm involved with Power to Change at UQ. Right, so on my first ever projects, it was the third night of outreach and we were in our cars driving to surfers. And till that point, testimony sharing hadn't really come up. Like there was no point where I had to share my testimony with anyone. And in fact, I hadn't even thought about it. We were told to prepare our testimony a couple of months in advance. And in the car ride there, I had this realization that I hadn't actually done that. I just had this thought, I'm like, oh, it'd be really funny if I had to share my testimony tonight. I'd really need God to do that. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. I was with a friend in our group and we saw a guy sitting by himself on the bench and we both knew that we had to go talk to him, and so he was really down. And this guy had a lot of really difficult things in his life. He was struggling with anxiety and depression, a real low sense of self-worth. After him having poured out his heart and sharing his story, I asked if it would be okay to share mine. And when I said that, I kind of for a moment had this sinking feeling. I was like, oh dear, I don't know what I'm going to say. And then my mind goes blank and I shared my full testimony, which I'd only done really with a few close friends. It's something that I have rarely done without bawling my eyes out. And that night I shared it, and it just, instead of me crying that time, it was him. And we had just this moment of connection, and I still talk to him to this day, actually 2 years later. It's actually really funny. Before, basically how the testimony happened was he said, there's no way that what you've done and what your life is like can be worse than mine. There's no way God can forgive me. I was like, oh, okay, you want to bet? Like, let's do this. And so we it was a bit joking, but really deep at the same time. And his response, he was honestly kind of just speechless. And I could tell that there was a lot going on in his mind. He was processing. And he never quite gave a clear response to it. But what happened is after he'd been saying that I'm going to go, it's the last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to go, instead he said, my friends are at McDonald's. Why don't you come with me and come hang out with us and talk with them and have conversations with them as well. And so we did, and we went to meet his friends. And then we started talking to them about Jesus, and he was in that conversation as well. And so his demeanor itself changed drastically, and he even asked that we pray for him before we left. And so he's still exploring his faith and his beliefs to this day, but that was a huge moment for him in terms of before we started. He completely thought in his mind that he was beyond redemption, that he was beyond anyone being able to love him, fully know him and fully love him. And so to be shown, actually, God does fully know him and God does fully love him, it definitely broke down many barriers and boundaries for him. And that was just incredible to see how our individual stories and our individual experiences, even though we might not think that they're that special or amazing or great, really just resonate with others and really has such power, and that God uses those so amazingly. And yeah, that was the first time I shared my testimony, and it was amazing.